Boom. We are recording. This is Conscious Growth, episode 26. Today we're going to talk about everything getting customers to take action at scale. Austin, what do you want to talk about first?
Dark anthropology. No, I'm joking. Let's talk about when you should fire your marketing manager or your agency or whoever is running your Google and Facebook account.
Let's do it.
Especially right now, we've been auditing. We've had like a pretty good influx of prospects and people who are looking to like crush 2023. So we've been auditing a ton of accounts lately. Mm-hmm. And I mean, honestly, like it's almost so simple. It's a joke when I look at some of these accounts. And
like what's wrong with them?
Yeah. And I'm like, no one has done any oversight at all. Or it's like obfuscated, basically. So for instance, like we just reviewed an account recently, pretty good spend, multi 5 figures a month. So not like crazy high, but also not like low enough to the point where like something should slip through the cracks.
Yeah. Somebody should be watching it.
Yeah. The purpose of a business, or most businesses, is going to be conversions or leads.
Yeah.
Conversions, I'm just referring to mostly purchases. So purchases or leads. When I look at an account and it has no event tracking for purchases or leads, and the business objective for Meta, in this case, is clicks, I can tell you exactly why the account is not getting the desired action. Because Meta's not looking for customers. It's looking for Indian click farms.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so wild. So I would say like, okay, here's the truth. This is when you fire an agency or a marketing manager. If you're not seeing results for 3 to 6 months, fire them.
Yeah.
It's like pretty obvious. Mm-hmm. If they're saying they need more time to test XYZ and it's something like super minute, probably not going to work. If they're saying that, I don't know, we're getting qualified traffic and it's going to your page, it's just not converting, they're probably not a good marketing agency for you to work with. Or if they're saying it is working and you're not seeing it in your backend, they're not a good agency to work with. It's like literally, Ian and I talk about this all the time. It's the people who are like, no, Facebook is showing conversions. They're like, I don't see any in the backend. Like, it's, I don't know. It's okay. We have a 10, bro.
What's the point where you like fire a client though? Because this is always a problem if, say somebody is paying attention, they're not getting results and they're like, we need to change like the positioning or the audiences we're testing. And sometimes we've seen companies who don't want to work on their product or change positioning. They don't want to target different audiences, or it's just an acute problem like with the landing page you're driving traffic to and you don't have the resources to get it. They're not going to get it. Like what would you do in that case? Because if some people do want to get better results and those are the biggest levers, like what would you do? At what point would you just say, I can't work with you anymore?
So, I mean, again, when we come into an account,
or do you think it's the responsibility of the person running the account to say that at some point?
So, well, I mean, it's a multifaceted thing. Here's kind of how I'm thinking about it. So like when we come into an account, a lot of times, one of the number one things that we're trying to get them to do is start marketing from an account that isn't their own, meaning using some sort of influencer to be a messenger of their brand. If that hasn't been tested, then I normally don't believe that we have good data, whether or not their product converts to the audience they want or their brand is talking to the audience that we want to. And the reason being it's extremely difficult to reach the right people to get good CPCs, to get good CPMs with a brand page, because people just don't care about brands that much anymore. So I would say that's a really big point to make. It's like if you're a brand, you want to see better results and your agency isn't asking you to test influencers or someone who becomes a partner with the brand running at whitelisted ads from their account, maybe suggest it, see if they're open to trying it, and if they're not, I'd probably next them. But like there's so many points of optimization and there's so many outlying factors to whether or not a brand is going to work on a specific medium, Meta, Google, TikTok. There's a virality. I forget that chocolate that someone showed us recently that was like a chocolate for sex drive.
Oh, no.
No. On TikTok, that TikTok chocolate thing.
Yep.
That blew up. And it's like, because it's like easy to talk about. Who knows if it's a flash in the pan? Like it sounds, in my opinion, like a stupid product.
Yeah.
But
I think it had like hormones. It was like DHEA in it or something.
Yeah, there was DHEA in it. Like, if you don't know that you're eating chocolate with DHEA in it, like, do some research. It's not good to do without you knowing what you're doing.
Wait, but so we have no results 3 to 6 months. They haven't asked you to test any influencers. And what about all the other stuff though? If there's still like problems with like things other than ads, like landing pages, positioning, audiences.
One, if they're not diligently tracking and looking at tracking and ensuring that events are populating within the platform, and let's say on an alternate platform, Triple Whale, High Rose, North Beam, if they're not pushing you to also get an additional platform, Triple Whale, High Rose, North Beam, that's another sign, in my opinion, that they are believing Facebook or Meta or Google or TikTok. And if they're doing that, that's not a good sign, because those platforms are lying, or at least they don't have the full picture of truth. And then creative testing is something that is important. But if the product isn't resonating with a person, you could shoot the product from 1,000 different angles, and I don't believe you're going to be able to get it to convert the way that you want it to.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could take the old 1970s adage where they take lead-based paints and they realize they can't use fish oil anymore, and they rebrand it as a health supplement. But you're going to want to have a lot of money behind you to actually do demand generation in order to change what your product is for and get it to a customer base that you think you could sell it to if it's a totally different use case than what you originally intended the product to be used for.
Yeah, this is a great. Yeah, this whole idea about demand generation is really interesting to me, because I keep hearing so many people talk about the importance of creative. And while I do think it's important to have the creative pipeline or like the logistics in place to be able to test creative, I don't think creative itself is that important, in that, like what we were talking about before the call, which is I'd rather take really bad creative, like in terms of just objective quality of the creative, that has a well communicated message in it, whether that's just because it has good copy, or if it's featuring a person in it, they're doing something that's easily identifiable as the product use case, whatever it is, even if it's not the best looking person and, it's not the prettiest place they're in, the creative's not amazing, you don't have the highest volume. I'd rather have a few of those, even if they're not great, that clearly show the product use case or position the product correctly, depending on if that has to do with the surroundings the product's shot in or the person using it, whatever. Like, positioning to me is everything in these advertisements and simple messaging that addresses the core use case of your highest value customer. So if I don't have those two things, to me, the rest of it doesn't matter, even if you have the best creative in the world and the highest volume of testing, until you have those things. So I'd rather have a few simple ads that have those things perfectly executed, and then really dialed down as you receive feedback from your customer, rather than any just, I don't know what else people are emphasizing when they say, creative is the most important thing, but maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah, I mean, similarly, it's offer testing. It's like diligently testing to make sure you have an irresistible offer for the medium that you're advertising on, because that's the make or break right there. It's like, if no one wants your offer, like, get out of here.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, to get really specific for an individual ad, the positioning comes down to like offer, channel, match. I think like if you don't have that, you're never going to have anything that works, no matter the rest of it,
No, and that's why I always emphasize, if you haven't tested your offer with a influencer, it's like, it may be a good offer, you may just be not hitting the correct audience. And so, I mean, I typically want to go to an influencer with an offer that we know converts at a decent rate, but depending on who you're working with and what that partnership looks like and what their audience is, they may be a good place to test these types of offers.
Interesting. So is there ever a point where you would fire a client? Because I know there's been points where I've felt like, we should just not work with these people anymore. But I feel like I've never seen you give up on an account. I feel like the only times you have not wanted to work on an account are like if someone doesn't want to pay or they're just not enjoyable to work with. But is there any point where you just ditch an account based on not getting resources or like people not understanding what you're trying to do with marketing?
Yeah, I think there's like 4 instances. One is, of course, payment. That's pretty big since we're paying for money. Number 2 is, yes, communication and how the person acts towards us and talks about us. Number 3 would be if the product is slowly losing its quality, and or these people are essentially like, just sell. It doesn't matter what we're doing in order to sell. We just need to sell more. We need to sell more. The scammy, whatever, sell bullshit is not something that I will ever stand behind. So that leads to a firing. For sure. And then number 4 is going to be if I honestly don't think that I can drive the account to where I thought it was going to be able to get to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is another great point, actually, because you said two things I feel like that are really important for all agencies or anyone you have working for you, which is like, if you don't think you can drive the account or you're going to get it to, and then if you are not excited about the products that you're now marketing, I feel like excitement for working on an account is so important. I remember seeing David Meister, he's like the godfather of professional services, talking about this, where any type of consulting arrangement, the person who's working on the account not being excited about it is the number one predictor of poor performance. So conversely, if the person's excited, like you have consultants that are excited about the work, that is the number one predictor of them doing quality work, or the best quality work you can get for whatever their account they're running. So whoever is working for you, whether it's a consultant, contractor, someone in-house, if they're not showing any signs of being excited at all about the work they're doing for you, that's also probably enough of an indicator in itself that you should be looking for a replacement, because people need to be excited about this type of work because it's creative, and you're not going to get the results if somebody's not thinking about it. If they're only thinking about it for the like a few minutes they're in the ad manager clicking buttons.
Yeah. I mean, these are complex, holistic systems. And if you're not thinking about it from a systemic level and you're just like, yeah, I don't know, I clicked some buttons and I set some new ads and nothing's working today. And it's like, yeah, that's why. Because you're not paying attention to the whole system.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
What else do you want to talk about on the when to fire people question?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like in the same way it's what I just said when we would fire a client. Like that's when also a client should fire in reverse, which is like not the pay. I guess you're paying too much for something that you're not getting any money back. Like if you're not profitable, after 3 to 6 months, if you're not making money back, it's probably not a good long-term thing. And I know like SEO agencies love to get you on a year-long retainer that never pays itself back. Yeah. And then attitude and how you match up as humans. If you actually are building a good relationship, like we want to hang out with most of our clients, which is like a plus. If they market just scammy products normally, or like their marketing language is like one of those like, oh yeah, just always discount and like throw up 25 fire emojis, whatever. Probably not a good fit.
Yeah,
for some
or
people
super fear-based marketing too. That gets tiring to work on. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we need more scarcity.
Yeah.
Most people should know though, pretty quick. If you're not seeing results, like why are you paying a marketing agency? After 3 to 6 months, I'm saying like within the first 30 days, like you have no idea, unless there's like they guaranteed you that in the first 30 days they were going to show you results, and then they're like, oh well, I don't know, should happen.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of agencies do that, but it'll be interesting. I'm sure somebody will come up with a good. After reading $100 million offers, somebody will come up with an interesting agency offer. Okay, let's do TikTok. Let's do TikTok. Why should people not rely on TikTok? Or at least I don't think they should. What do you think?
I think it's just still like shaky territory.
Yeah.
As a medium. I think like, one, I know downloads is going down and usage is going down, theoretically. I saw some charts on that. But two, it's being banned from all government technology.
Yep, saw that.
It's clearly passing data to people that those using it don't want it to.
Yeah.
And it's clearly optimizing for actions that those using it don't want to take. So it's not really a good platform from the sense of pro-human, or at least pro-free thinking human.
I feel like we can't say that for any of the social platforms, though.
For sure, but at least we know where the data is going with TikTok and like how it's key logging you if you click on links and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw some YouTube short with like Joe Rogan going over their terms of service. Did you see that?
But I've heard him talk about it. I mean, it's fucked.
We'll have to link it.
But I think just the like, if you have like a 50% or let's say even a 70% confidence interval that like TikTok's going to go away because it's illegal in the future, that's probably not a good platform to like build your whole business on. Whereas like at least we have like the fact that Meta has been around for X amount of time probably guarantees that it's going to be around for that same amount of years moving forward. So if it's like 12, I don't know how old it is now. It's actually probably way older than I think it is. But like 15 years, it probably has another 15 years at least. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like Meta's getting better and better anyways for advertising in the past like month, 2 months.
Yeah, I know. The momentum has changed so much in the last just 2 months. Everyone was so excited, I feel like, about TikTok like 3-4 months ago. And now people are like really, really worried. Yeah. And even stronger change just with Meta. Everyone was talking down on Meta so hard a few months ago. And now everyone's like, nope, still the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I feel like TikTok, I mean, from what we've seen, it's decent for conversions, but it's mostly for impressions. Unless you're going to like knock it out of the park, like Scrub Daddy did some hilarious ads. And I've seen some companies do like incredibly good branded TikTok ads. No idea what that looks like at the bottom line for them. I know Athletic Greens is all over TikTok. I know that.
Yep.
Yeah, a ton of these brands are crushing it there. At least from an impression standpoint. I don't know from a conversion standpoint.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I hear so many people talking about success on TikTok, and maybe I'm not looking hard enough, but still the only case studies, I think like literally the only conversion based case studies I've seen that were good were ones that Andrew Foxwell had in his TikTok marketing course. Two of the guys he had on as experts that were, running funnels, and they did a funnel breakdown of like how they were getting conversions on TikTok. And that was pretty convincing, but even that didn't have, I don't think it had numbers on sales.
Yeah. I mean, I still see when someone says like they have a case study, they show TikTok data. So I'm like, yeah, sure. That's real. It's like the old days was showing like metadata. Not metadata, but Facebook data. Meta is in the brand, not meta is in metadata.
Metadata, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's crazy though. Like I haven't seen as much as I would have thought, given how much people are talking about TikTok. Like as many case studies. Definitely not as much as like the early days of Facebook. People were just going crazy with case studies then.
It's probably fake it till you make it thing. Normally,
I don't know.
A lot of these people
I mean, even now, how many meta marketers have we talked to that are talking about their multi-billion-dollar spend?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, dude. That stuff is so hilarious. I've spent $1 billion. Sure.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch.
I mean, same with YouTube. How many people do you know that have actually done YouTube right?
Yep. That's true. I haven't seen a lot of case studies.
No. I bet you with Performance Max, a lot more people will do better on video, though, on Google. I mean, we're seeing it crush. So I would assume like just even that added bit of optimization will help so much with capturing YouTube and display video impressions that are profitable. Yeah, I think Performance Max is going to be huge in 2023. Definitely will be the year Performance Max case studies. What else do you think is like big? What do you think are like some of the biggest changes happening in paid media this year? I mean, I think, of course, I think if Twitter pulls it off, Twitter's going to be a big change. We actually start to see brands go over there. I think Meta is going to crush. I think it's going to rip. I think I think the algorithm on Meta is so good that even with a recession, if your product is perfectly placed and positioned, you're going to do really well. While all these other businesses are failing. Yeah. I think similarly, people are going to be really doubling down on like email and SMS and retention efforts. And that hopefully, or at least we will be doing this more, but buying based on a CAC to lifetime value type of model of paying for customers. Like making sure that your customer acquisition is below like the 90-day LTV or the 60-day LTV or the 30-day, but like using that instead of using something like return on ad spend for immediate conversion, break even, here's what we got to do type stuff. Yeah. I think that's going to get bigger and bigger. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Also, I totally agree on that. The other thing is going to be, I know this is going to be massive, but Meta to Amazon advertising. Yep. With Amazon's affiliate tracking attribution software now, and like even Triple Whale is right about to release a brand new implementation where it hooks your Amazon storefront up to your Triple Whale account, and now you can do that cross tracking. Yep. It's gonna go crazy because, like as we've seen with a few clients, Facebook ads to Amazon leads to high ranking for those products. And not only do you get like the immediate, cool, yeah, like we're at a break even or whatever from Facebook to Amazon, but now our storefront increased 25% month over month because of the fact that we're showing up in everyone's searches, because we're seeing more traffic than anybody else in our category, because we're sending traffic from Meta. Yeah. No, for sure. Even if it's not on a owned marketplace, when it's Amazon's. Yep. I totally agree. I think that's similarly the idea of just being able to track your bottom line, even on your own marketplaces. Like
if it's Shopify, is going to be increasingly important. Like I know Triple L is early on this, but they have their idea of like ecosystem ROAS. But I think this idea of really nailing your positioning and messaging, people are going to start to realize that the main thing they need to test is like their audience match with positioning and messaging, and then a little bit more nuanced for each channel. But if you really nail positioning and messaging that works with an audience, whether or not you have like a pink background in your creative or like a blue background, like if you nail the positioning and the messaging, you will start to get customers and you'll start to be able to see a consistent blended ROAS over time. Yep. And you're going to be able to see that, you know, I think people getting more tuned into their like blended ecosystem ROAS across channels, like say they have 2 or 3 channels, and starting to get that consistent and working on that instead of trying to figure out like what's the 3 creatives that we can scale to the moon. It's going to become increasingly important, especially now tracking is getting better. People are wrapping their heads around like why they shouldn't rely on this like point and shoot tracking with like creative specific ROAS and things like that. Like, yeah, I see that changing a lot.
Yeah, like everyone still talks about videos being the best creatives. It's like we crush with images for the most part. It's like always have. I don't know. I feel like if anybody's talking about like this is the thing, it's not.
Yeah,
we've never seen the thing actually work.
I could go on about that one. We're gonna have to do like an ecosystem ROAS whole podcast. Is there anything you wanted to go over on this one? Anything else?
No, I would say the last thing is inventory management is so important. And if you're working with any agency, make sure that they're asking you about what your inventory looks like, how quickly you can get new inventory, things like that. It's just, it's wild. It always keeps popping up. It's like, hey, that 10,000 product order wasn't enough. How many weeks do we have? 12? But this is going to be weird. So it's super important to have like an outsourced CFO. We've got a few companies that do that, or someone in-house who's like meticulously giving you the feedback of how much you can actually scale, because it's way worse to sell out than it is to just sell a bit less for 2 months until the next batch of products is made.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You lose out in the reviews. People have bad experience, agency spend. Yeah, it definitely amplifies the losses once you start adding the agency on top.
Yeah.
Nice. What else? Anything else today?
I don't think so. It's so nice here in Austin right now. I'm just trying to spend a lot of time outside.
Weather in Austin's perfect. If you're an e-com in Austin, get outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Was it? January 6th.
Grab an alley pop in a midday square and go sit outside and snack on your favorite CPG brands.
Yeah, exactly. At least if you're us. All right, cool.
I love it.
Boom.